5th, and 8th grades. The Spot Vision Screener handheld device is designed to quickly and easily detect vision issues for infants through adults. Vision screenings are an important and effective method to identify potential vision concerns. Since learning is mostly accomplished through the senses of vision and hearing, early identification and treatment can prevent or alleviate potential problems that result from vision impairments. So we're greatly appreciative of their donation for helping us to do our work better. If you could join me in a round of applause for those groups. Our next recognition is for the Wayzata Youth Hockey Association. And if those who are here for that would join me at the podium. I should add, for their annual pilgrimage to our board member, or more than once sometimes. Welcome, Greg. Good to see you. I'd like to share the following before I turn it over to Greg. And Sloan, I don't know if you have any comments that you wanted to share or not, but you'll do great. Want me to cover you tonight? All right. The Wayzata Youth Hockey Association approached facility manager Sloan Walgren with a desire to add a second scoreboard in the arena at Central Middle School. In addition, the association would like to make upgrades to the existing scoreboard. The cost of the new scoreboard upgrades to the current scoreboard, delivery and installation, will cost $7,595. The items have been ordered and will be installed this summer. Wayzata Youth Hockey, Buildings and Grounds, and Community Education will all continue to work together to schedule, manage, staff, and maintain this wonderful asset to our community. We are extremely grateful to the Wayzata Youth Hockey Association for their generous donation to improve this facility and for everything that they do for youth in our community. Greg Gibson, Wayzata Youth Hockey Association President, is in attendance here with us tonight to present the school board with a donation in the amount of $7,595. And we appreciate so much our partnership with the Youth Hockey Association and their financial support. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Greg. Thank you.
Thank you. As always, thank you. I brought a couple of goalies from the Junior Gold A Wayzata High School hockey team this year who didn't make the high school team but are playing with our high school team. And I'm sure they have a few words they would like to say. And now that they saw there's pictures with the superintendent of schools without being in trouble, they want to get a picture before we go too. So this, Beckett Burns and Zach Clayman.
So I've played hockey all my life, and when I didn't make the JV team or the high school team after tryouts, I was kind of disappointed. But to be able to try out for Junior Gold and make that team, it was a really great experience to still be able to play organized competitive hockey for Wayzata.
I played on Junior Gold A last year as well, so through my 2 years of experience in the Junior Gold program, I can truly attest to the experience it gives to all the kids who, without the Junior Gold program, would otherwise not be able to have this. So it's very important that we have this, and thank you.
So they're the goalies that on the one end of the rink where we defend, there's a scoreboard. So most of the game they're like this all the time. So after 45 years, we decided with their enthusiasm and pushing me during the course of the year that this is what this year's donation ought to go towards, is a second scoreboard so they can see what the score of the game is and the penalties. But as always, I'd like to thank Sloan and all the staff for doing another outstanding job at the arena. Keeping it clean, keeping it up to date. They just do an outstanding job at taking care of the kids of District 284, and we truly appreciate it's nearly 50 years now that arena's been open, that the school district has supported youth hockey in District 284. So thank you. A picture with the superintendent.
Yes, of course. Well, every kid will want to come to a board meeting now.
Here we go. Zach. Sorry. I have a note for you.
Thanks, Greg.
Nice job.
Thanks, good to see you. Yep, yep. They really want
Thank
to
you
see
so
the big
much.
check.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Jim Cash. Thanks again for being here this evening. We greatly appreciate your partnership and your attendance here tonight. And our next recognition this evening is for our Wayzata Education Fund grant recipients. So I know we have a number of representatives that are here from that wonderful organization, which I have the privilege of being a part of. We meet monthly, sometimes multiple times monthly. They do a wonderful job of raising funds to help support innovative and creative projects within the school district. And we have some representatives from the foundation here tonight, along with some of the recipients of the grants. So I'll just read a brief script, and then I'll turn it over to Liz for an overview of the role that they'll play here tonight and the introductions and rollout of the grants that have been awarded. The Wayzata Education Fund provides grants for innovative curricular ideas across the Wayzata School District. The fund encourages teachers and staff to imagine new ways to engage students and support excellence for each and every student. An all-volunteer organization, the fund has donated more than $200,000 to innovative ideas since its 2003 inception. Liz Brown, Wayzata Education Fund Communications Chair, is here to present the 2018 grant recipients. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you. Is my presentation here? Thanks, Andrew. Great, thank you. Good evening, Chair Johansson, members of the board, and Dr. Anderson. My name is Liz Brown. I'm a board member of the Wayzata Education Fund, and I am here with several of the Ed Fund's board members, as well as this year's grant recipients, to provide an update on the fund and announce the 2018 grants. Just briefly, I know Dr. Anderson introduced who we are, but really quickly, the Wayzata Education Fund was founded in 2003. We're an independent 501c3, and we are an all-volunteer board of directors. We're always looking for volunteers and additional members of our board, so if anyone's interested, there's my plug. What we do is we exist so that we can provide grants for innovative curricular ideas to the wonderful teachers and staff of this district. Since our inception, we've now donated more than $270,000 and growing. And this year, I'm happy to announce that we have $43,000 worth of grants to give out. How we work, we rely solely on donations from local businesses, district families, and Wayzata staff in order to make these grants available. Grant proposals are welcome during the fall semester from August to December, and then board members take several months to review grant information, obtain more details, and get any necessary district approvals, and then grants are announced in the spring. Some of the key grant criteria that we look for is it has to be curriculum-based and meet the goals of the district's strategic plan. It needs to be innovative and provide a new or unique learning experience for our children. It needs to impact a large number or a key smaller demographic of students. We'd like it to involve collaboration with other teachers, departments, or schools within the district, and then we'd like it to have potential for replication moving forward. I'm going to start with the grant announcements. If you're present, if you could just step forward or raise your hand for recognition. Congratulations to Sheila Schultz and the elementary school physical education team. They are having a new physical education program called Wayzata Elementary Fitness Initiative Training that will impact all 7,000 elementary students next year. Congratulations to Miriam Landbarm and the Compass team for a tower garden for the new Compass class, The Ecology of Foods and Nutrition at the high school. Congratulations to Kyle Swenson for a new CNC router for the advanced woodworking class at the high school. Congratulations to Chip Brawford for encouraging a lifelong interest in STEM through coding and robotics challenges for second graders in all district elementary schools. Congratulations to Leon Jasper for providing real-world application of students' designs through light exposure screen printing for graphic design and ceramics classes at the high school. Congratulations to Sue Kim for teaching music, stage presence, public speaking, and how to engage with an audience through a new chamber-style band program that connects East Middle School band students with senior citizens in the community. Congratulations to Ann Carlson and Jeremy Willenbring for bringing a collection of big books for shared reading in kindergarten and first grade at Birchview Elementary. Congratulations to Chris Sheeman and Elizabeth Robertson for a new bookbinding machine to be shared with several elementary schools in order to improve the longevity of our media center resources. Congratulations to Bill Skurbitz for incorporating physical experimentation, simulation, and modeling in the differential equations and linear algebra advanced math class at Wayzata High School. Congratulations to the first grade teaching team of Renee Wenberg, Maura Fryer, Dan Messer, and Mai Wynn for providing new social coping tools through We Thinkers to students at Birchview Elementary. Congratulations to all of this year's recipients. Finally, from all of us at the Wayzata Education Fund, thank you. Thank you to our teachers and staff who continue to look for new and innovative ways to extend the district's curriculum and provide amazing experiences for our children. Thank you to families, businesses, and district staff who support the fund and make our work possible. And to all the grant recipients for investing time and energy in the grant process and carrying your vision through to execution, and for your dedication to our students. And yes, thank you. And now we'd like to present a check for $43,481. Exactly.
He wants us up here.
Oh, boy. There's 2 steps there if you want to make 2 rows. Yeah, I heard about it at SciTech. Sounds cool. Give it to Jim. Deposit those and.
Well, that concludes our recognitions this evening, so thanks to all of our students and staff that were here and our members of the Ed Fund. We greatly appreciate it, and hope those of you who need to move on to the rest of your evening activities have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to our curriculum reports. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I said that recognitions were one of my favorite things, and they are, but probably right up there with recognitions and maybe even better our curriculum reports when I see students and toys sitting in front of us. So, Dr. Johnson, we would love your introduction for our next event.
Absolutely. Thank you for that great introduction. Kids and toys, you can't go wrong. Madam Chair and members of the board and Superintendent Anderson, this evening's presentation is a little bit different because it's a joint presentation from Gleason Lake and Oakwood, and because they're doing a similar work, we thought it'd be fun just to have both sites present at the same time. So I don't have our effective practices map up tonight, which I usually share with you, but tonight's presentation, the purpose of this is to give you some insight into what is the exact work that occurs that leads to the outcomes on the strategic roadmap. So tonight's presentation will come from that far right side of the column on the student experiences. What exactly do the students do? So you're going to get not only their presentation, but you're going to get some hands-on instruction. So welcome back to school tonight. And with that, I'd like to introduce the great principals of these two fine buildings, Mary Mackesy at Gleason Lake and Sarah Beth Denai at Oakwood.
Well, thank you for letting us attend this evening. We were standing here about a year ago as recipients from the Wayzata Education Fund for this grant that we have to use Google Expeditions. So we wanted to take a minute to say thank you so much to the Wayzata Education Fund for providing us this opportunity, and we wanted to share with you what we've been doing with our Google Expeditions this school year.
So we oftentimes ask the question, how does this enhance student learning? And when we think about Google Expedition, it enables teachers to bring students on virtual trips to places like museums, outer space, underwater, and also inside the human body. Expeditions are collections of linked virtual reality content and support materials that can be used alongside existing curriculum. What we hope to do when we thought about the purpose and the goal was to build background knowledge, encourage students to construct their own learning, and to extend lessons beyond the classroom. Now, both at Gleason Lake and at Oakwood, we feel we have two amazing teacher leaders, Angie Henry and Carolyn Sun, who have been absolutely instrumental in helping us carry through on this initiative. And here today, they are going to share how this journey was with all of our students as well as our staff members. And we also have our 4th and 5th graders here to share that journey with you. So with that.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Superintendent, board members, teachers, parents, community members. It's very exciting to be here tonight. My name is Carolyn Sund, and I teach at Gleason Lake Elementary, and I brought some 4th graders with me today. In just a moment, they'll be talking about how they have been learning with the virtual reality devices. And I just want to back up a moment to briefly share how Mrs. Henry and I rolled out the Google Expeditions to our schools and how you will get to use them tonight. Mrs. Henry and I attended a training once the devices arrived. We then did training with our own school staff. I also did some co-teaching lessons with the classroom teachers with topics that they were studying in their rooms. Some teachers felt comfortable to use the devices on their own once we'd done some co-teaching. At Gleason Lake, we had about 300 and more students use the devices with our tours with grades 3, 4, and 5. Since the devices are not recommended for children age 8 and younger, it was only the older grades that would experience the virtual tours. In addition to me and the classroom teachers, our technology teacher took the devices for 2 weeks and used them with every 3rd and 4th grader in the technology time. A 5th grade teacher used it with all of the 5th graders as they did rotations. She used it for her health rotation. She did a virtual tour of the inner workings of the respiratory system. I used the devices in my own classroom for building background knowledge on Shakespeare and viewing the 7 Wonders of the World, for example. The after-school homework club also used the devices to visit places in Kenya. I appreciated how the Google Expeditions and the virtual reality viewers provided a common background knowledge for all the students on a variety of topics. This tool enriched the learning of so many students in our schools. Thank you. So it's more important to hear what the students had to learn. So first up, I would like to invite Claire Choi.
It was really cool to see places that are super hard to see or go to in person, and it was awesome to see it all around you. The way you can see 360 view is amazing. Also, it would be really hard to imagine what space would be like if you've never been there. Virtual reality made it a lot easier to imagine.
Thank you, Claire, and she's off to a soccer game pretty soon. Next is Stonewall Anderson.
We read a book about Native Americans in Maine. It was helpful to be able to see the stuff we were reading about. We could see what the buildings really looked like. We got to learn about them by looking at what they had built. We would normally not be able to see what they had made.
Thank you, Stonewall. Here is William Habel.
It was impressive to see places like the Grand Canyon from views where you could see up and see places around the world. For instance, we saw the Amazon River from on a boat. It works like this. Google takes thousands of pictures from all views and blends them together to make one view of Google Expeditions.
Thank you, William. Next, we have Quinn DeWolf.
I thought it was amazing to see the leopard seals and penguins in their natural habitat where we could probably not get as close to them as we saw in the virtual reality goggles. I mean, I don't think you can find penguins in Minnesota for some reason.
That's true. So next, it looks like we have our students from Oakwood.
All right. I would like to introduce Blake, Qua, and Maggie, and they will be taking the board members on a tour through America's national parks. So what, board members, if you want to grab your device and take a look into it and make sure you're able to see some trees and things. If you aren't, just let us know.
We're good? Okay.
I'll give you a minute to look around.
Say it again.
Oh, yeah. I'll give you a minute to look around.
Do we look totally silly up here?
Wow.
So cool.
Oh.
Go all the way to your.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then.
That's really cool.
That's cool.
Very
Do any of you know where we are?
That's a good question.
Oh my gosh.
National Park.
High five.
I know. Are those redwoods? No. Oh, paused.
You guys know where we are?
Where?
No.
Where?
We're at Yellowstone National Park. Welcome to Yellowstone, America's very first national park. Yellowstone contains the world's largest collections of geysers, hot springs, steam vents, mud pots, and other geothermal activity. In 1872, the U.S. Congress designated this 2.2 million acre natural wonder as a special place for the benefit and enjoyment of the people. At the time, the idea of protecting and preserving a special location for the current and future generations was unheard of.
What are some of the unusual geological features of Yellowstone National Park?
That was a question. The rocks.
Yeah.
The rocks. And
Yes, that's one of them. Some unusual features of the park are geysers, hot springs, steam vents, and mud pots. How did Yellowstone National Park get its name?
Because of the Yellowstone?
Clearly, we need to do this more often.
Its name comes from the rocks that surround the Yellowstone River, which are mainly yellow. You can put your headsets back on. Follow the arrows. This is Yellowstone River. Called Rock Yellow River by the Minnetaree people, the Yellowstone River winds 692 miles before emptying into the Missouri River. The color of the surrounding rocks makes it easy to see why the name was chosen. How would you interpret David E. Folsom's quote about Yellowstone, this masterpiece of nature's handiwork? Here's a hint. Look around at the view. So does anyone think they know how? So this is just about an opinion, so there's always going to be many answers to this question. So you can answer if you like.
Well, it's pretty magnificent, isn't it? With lots
Yeah.
of tall trees and deep rivers and lots of really interesting things to look
Pretty
at.
amazing waterfall right over
Waterfall,
here.
right? The waterfall over there? Yes.
It's majestic and beautiful.
It's
Which
majestic.
is one of the answers, as I said earlier. There are many possible answers. Please follow the arrows again. This is the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. For many years, this 24-mile-long canyon remained unseen by all but Native American peoples and European fur traders. It wasn't until 1869 that organized expeditions documented, as explorer David E. Folsom noted, this masterpiece of nature's handiwork. I'll now give you a fun fact. Did you know that Yellowstone National Park has the largest concentration of free-roaming wildlife in all of the lower 48 states? The park has 50 mammal species, 311 bird species, 18 fish species, 6 reptile species, and 4 amphibian species. Sorry. And that's all we have. I hope you enjoyed.
We have to give them back, huh?
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. What a fantastic presentation. I'm wondering, kiddos, if you're sticking around, if any of our board members have questions for you. Can you answer any? Do we have any questions? All right, Ms. Keene.
I have a question about that arrow, and then I looked at the right spot and it turned into kind of a compass shape. How did that happen?
Hold on the spot right there, or you can click on something like a tab or something. But when you click on it, it will have an arrow that points because we want you to look over there, and the compass is just circling where the area is.
That's really cool. So sometimes do you set that up, or do the teachers set that up, or some of each?
Yeah, all right.
Really cool.
Set up
Yeah,
both
thank
ways.
you.
Yeah. Any other question? Yes, Dr. Anderson.
I just want to acknowledge and admit here on public TV that as a science major, I'm sorry to say I think I failed the test. I'll have to, it's a reminder to go back and study up. So thank you for your interest in science. It was wonderful. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, let's give one more round of applause for all of our students. We need to go study our science a little bit more, but your knowledge and enthusiasm is inspiring. So thank you, and thank you to your teachers and your principals for setting that up too. All All right, we're so glad you're here. And now we're going to do lots of really exciting stuff, like talk about policies and health insurance and life insurance. So if you'd like to learn a little bit about that, you're welcome to stay. If you have bedtimes or homework or just about anything else, you are welcome to say goodnight as well. Thank you again.
I wasn't expecting, like, as you move, I thought it was like a...
Yeah.
Okay.
You wouldn't have told me to move. I don't know if I would have figured it out.
Like that waterfall.
All right. Well, it's a little hard to follow that, but Dr. Anderson, I think first on the agenda are some policies, and our first is under community education, and so I'll let you start.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. There are a number of policies that are presented here tonight for you. The first one I'll give a brief overview on, and I believe Dr. Johnson will give a brief intro to the other ones. Attached is Policy 920 for your consideration. The policy was reviewed by appropriate program directors, and the policy was reviewed by the Policy Committee of the board at the April meeting. So this is Policy 920, and it refers to use of school district facilities and equipment. There are some minor modifications that have been made to it, but was updated with some additional information that we thought would be helpful to provide a policy that gives us stronger guidance on our use of district facilities and equipment.
All right, thank you. So the recommended action is to approve School Board Policy 920 as presented. Is there a motion to that effect?
Chair Johansson, I'd move that we waive the first and second reading and move the policy forward as listed.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, so Policy 920 has been moved and seconded for first and second reading and final approval. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving School Board Policy 920 as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, motion carries. Thank you, and thank you to the Policy Committee. I know that was fast, but you guys work a lot harder and longer in talking them through. All right, and then Dr. Johnson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Anderson, attached are policies for your consideration. The policies were reviewed using the MSBA model policies. The policies were also reviewed by appropriate program directors and building principals, and the policies were reviewed by the Policy Committee of the board at the April meeting. There are Policy 603, instructional goals. There was no substantial changes to this policy. 613, instructional curriculum development and adoption. There was a change to the title, no substantial changes to the content, however. 613, we added regulations, which we previously did not have, to better align our practice with the MSBA policy and current world's best workforce legislation. Some of the content was used from Regulation 623. 623, school accountability, is a name change, eliminated some of the language from the policy and moved it into the regulations. And then 623 regulation created regulations to better align our practice with the MSBA model policy and current world's best workforce legislation. The recommended action is listed below.
All right, thank you, Dr. Johnson. So the recommended action is to approve School Board Policies 603, 613, and 623 as presented. Is there a motion to that effect?
Chair Johansson?
Yes.
I would like to move that we approve policies 603, 613, and 623 for their first reading in hopes that we could bring the policies to either the Teaching and Learning Committee meeting or perhaps to a work session just for some discussion and to answer a couple of quick questions.
All right.
I would second that.
All right, so policies 603, 613, and 623 have been moved and seconded for first reading to be discussed in further detail and at a teaching and learning or board work session. Is there any discussion? No, okay. Sometimes we do that. Sometimes we move policies forward for all to, sometimes we bring them back for discussion. Okay. All those in favor of approving School Board Policy 603, 613, and 623 for first reading as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, motion carries. Thanks so much. Okay, and then I think next is Mr. Westrom and some finance and business reports.
Yes, good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. This evening, we have one item, the monthly financial reports. And enclosed within your packets for your review and information are the following financial reports as of March 2018, the Student Activity Fund Report, the Investment Summary Report, an analysis of our financial reports, a statement of revenues, and a statement of expenditures. And once again, this is through March 2018, and the district business office has reviewed this information in great detail and actually used it as a portion of planning for the upcoming 18-19 budget. And I'll just make a few comments that normally we would ask the board to approve our transportation contracts this evening, but because we have a special meeting scheduled for next Monday on the 21st, we thought it made more sense to bring it to the board on the 21st. And the legislative deadline is next Monday, the 21st as well. So at this point, our budgeting process for the 18-19 school year is going fine, and our current operational expenditures are in line with what the board has approved. So with that, if there are any questions, there's no school board action required.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Westrom and our finance department? We'll eagerly await the news next Monday. Thank you, Mr. Westrom. All right, and next we have some human resources recommendations.
Yes, good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Anderson. I have two items this evening. The first one being the authorization of life and long-term disability RFP process. National Insurance Services, on behalf of Wayzata Public Schools, conducted a formal request for proposal for group life and long-term disability insurance to remain in compliance with Minnesota statute. The RFP was released in February and distributed to 13 carriers with responses received in March. Evaluation of these proposals took into account, but were not limited to, the following criteria: compliance with bid specifications, contract provisions, premium rates and guarantee periods, proposer's ability to adequately service the group's employees, and ease, cost, and effectiveness of transition from current carrier. After providing last look and negotiating with the incumbent carrier, Cigna, National Insurance Services recommended district administration remain with Cigna as our life carrier and transition to Madison National Life as the long-term disability carrier effective July 1st, 2018. Both carriers have confirmed to matching all current benefits and guaranteeing their proposed rates for a period of 3 years. The approximate total annual district premium savings will be around $75,000 as a result of this RFP process. The recommended action is listed before you.
All right, fantastic. So the recommended action is to accept Cigna as the life insurance provider and Madison National Life as the district's long-term disability insurance provider, effective July 1st, 2018. Is there a motion to that effect?
I so move.
Second.
It's been moved by Andrea and seconded by Chris. Any discussion? No, okay. So all those in favor of the recommended action related to our life and long-term disability insurance, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Abstentions, motion carries. All
Thank you
right.
very much. The second item this evening is the annual resolution regarding termination and annual non-renewal of teaching contracts. The administration recommends the adoption of the attached resolution for the non-renewal of the teaching contracts of the following probationary teachers. You have the list before you, and we recommend that you adopt the resolution.
All right, thank you. So the recommended action is to adopt the resolution related to the termination and non-renewal of the teaching contract for the named probationary teachers. Is there a motion to that effect?
I so move, and I request that we waive the reading. Thank you. Of the resolution. Thank you. Word finding problems.
Right.
Second.
Oh, sorry, second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded, and is there any discussion? Okay, all right. I think this is a roll call vote.
Yes, Madam Chair. Bonita Lucky is absent. Chris McCullough,
Yes.
Cheryl Polzine, yes. Eric Brown,
Yes.
Linda Cohen, absent. Andrea Keen,
Yes.
and Chair Johansson.
Yes.
Passes.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. All right, that concludes that. The next item on our agenda are board reports. Does anyone have a board report? Just as one quick board report, I would like to reiterate what Mr. Westrom said. We typically have our regular meeting on the second Monday of the month, but there will be a special session, or special board meeting next Monday night. It will be posted at the District Administration Building, but will most likely be at 7 o'clock at the high school. In fact, not most likely, it will be at 7 o'clock at the high school next week, and that is a regularly scheduled, or that is a regular board meeting. We will also be having a work session at 4 o'clock at the District Administration Building on schedule as well. So, and on the agenda for that item, in addition to looking at our transportation contracts, will also probably be the attendance area reconfiguration recommendation. So that will be a big night. The community feedback forum online, it will be open until that time for any audience members who are looking to share their thoughts with the board. And thank you to everyone who's shared their thoughts already. All right, speaking of sharing thoughts, audience opportunity to address the board. I do not see that we have anyone here this evening to address the board. So, seeing none of that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All right, moved and seconded. All in favor of adjournment for this meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. The Wayzata Public Schools Board of Education regular board meeting for Monday, May 14th, 2018 is adjourned.